I'm finally going to talk about it. How I decided to go to UC Davis. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex Fisher-Wagner. For those who are new or just finding my channel, I know a lot of you are new because you are recently accepted UC Davis students. So welcome to you all. Before we get into this whole video about how I decided to go to UC Davis, I just wanted to make two quick notes. First note is that there is an ongoing photo contest. You can look at my video about my college apartment tour for more details, but to sum it up quickly, if you are a UC Davis student or a college student anywhere, you can take a photo of your apartment, your bedroom, your desk area, whatever part of your living space is your favorite. Put it on Instagram with the hashtag BestRoomOf2019. Make sure you're following me at Dean Rexall. And you can enter to win a pizza party for your entire dorm room plus your roommates if you're a UC Davis freshman, or you can enter to win a $20 coffee gift card to the coffee shop of your choice. The second thing that I wanted to make note of is that there is a Discord server now for this channel. Whether it is because you're into UC Davis or have college questions, or if you're into videography, cinematography, and other things like that, you can go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link to the description. I'll also put a QR code right here that you can feel free to scan, and you can also enter the contest there. All right, so during the live stream Q&A that we did, someone asked me about how I decided to actually come to UC Davis, and I realized I had never told the story before on this channel, and why not tell it now? A lot of you guys are deciding about what colleges to go to. Decision day at UC Davis is coming up on April 6th, so I decided I was going to share with you guys how I decided to go to UC Davis over other schools that I got into. So the first thing I want to start off though with is that it's not super duper important which college you go to. The thing is, when you go to college, whatever college you choose, you're going to get an experience out of it. It's in a 4-year, sometimes it's a 2-year if you're coming from community college, experience that you're going to have, and it's really about how much effort and how much energy you want to put into that experience, and that's what you're going to get out of it. So if you are really stuck between two colleges or you didn't get into your dream college, you're going to learn very quickly that the college you do end up choosing most of the time is going to be a great fit for you. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't times that people go to a college and they hate that experience there, but I feel like most of the time people find friends, people find their groups, and they find that their experience there is really reflective of those things and also what major they decide to pursue. So for me, I was looking at schools that had computer science programs because that's what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought I was coming into college to do computer science. And so I was looking at schools that had good computer science programs, good engineering programs, and I was kind of picking and choosing from there. So of course at the top of my list back then was like Stanford and MIT and UC Berkeley. And I actually got to tour a lot of those schools that were on my list. I didn't make it all the way to Massachusetts. I did go look at UC Santa Barbara, UC San Diego. I looked at Caltech for some reason. UC Berkeley and Stanford, and of course UC Davis. And for me, one of the things that first stood out to me about UC Davis was the campus itself. Of all the campuses that I went to, I really loved how everything was just laid out, bikeable, and it was really pretty when I came. It was a day where the Arboretum just was like really gorgeous. People were outside studying on the lawns. It kind of struck me as like, whoa, this is a really pretty school to go to. There's water. And I wasn't really expecting there to be water because it's Davis. And the other thing that really stood out for me was the amount of bikes. So at the time, I was just getting really heavily into cycling. And so I was really about bike life, and the fact that I had to like yield to these like massive groups of bikes was so cool. I was really like excited about that bike life. Another thing that I really kind of enjoyed about it was it wasn't that far from home. But it was far enough that like there weren't going to be parents that were going to check in on me every week. That just wasn't a feasible thing to happen. Unlike UC Berkeley, for at the time I lived about 5 blocks away from campus, and so that could have been like a constant thing, or I maybe would have chosen not to live in the dorms. But for me, one of the things I wanted out of a college experience was to actually live in the residence halls and try that first year experience that you get from living on campus. So those were the things that stood out to me about Davis. One of the things that was a drawback for me was that it was really hot that day we went on that tour and I didn't have a bike. So we were walking and it was brutal. I hated it. I hate walking in general. I love biking, so I don't know if it would have mattered that it was really hot out, but it was really hot out that day, and I was just like, ugh, I don't want to do this. It's much better when you have a bike. You know, at the time that was a thing for me, but now I'm like, whatever. Of those like 9, 11 schools that I applied to, there was a few that like the chances of me getting in were very slim. MIT was almost a 0% chance. Stanford was very slim. And I applied for the harder of 2 computer science majors at Berkeley, which put me at a disadvantage. But when it came down to getting admitted to schools, I was left with a good handful. UC San Diego, San Diego State, UC Santa Barbara, I was waitlisted at. UC Davis I got in, and UC Irvine. You know, I now had a decision to make because I had gotten into UC Irvine, San Diego, and I was waitlisted at Santa Barbara, and then I had Davis. And for me, you know, there was a few factors to choosing which of these schools. Santa Barbara was really pretty because it was right on the coast, as well as San Diego. But at the time, I was very worried about majors and how long it would take me to graduate. And I decided to cross UC San Diego off because I got in undeclared. So they were off my list. And then for UC Santa Barbara, I just didn't want to have to go through the waitlisting process. There wasn't really any other reason, so I crossed that off too. So then I was kind of left with UC Irvine and UC Davis. I had crossed off San Diego State after I got into UC San Diego. And at that point, I was debating between these 2 schools, and mostly because of the programs each of them had. UC Irvine had a really good computer science program. It had a gaming program around computer science, and I thought that was really cool. But the downsides were it was in like a city. It was far. So UC Irvine wasn't as picturesque as I wanted. But UC Davis was, you know, it was pretty and it had bikes. Honestly, a lot of the end decision comes down to, for me, was that there were bikes at UC Davis, and there was a lot of them, and I really liked that. And of the 2 programs, you know, they were both good. UC Irvine's might have been a little better for computer science, but I really just I wanted somewhere slightly closer to home, but also somewhere that had this massive amount of bikes. And so I tell people that the reason I chose Davis is because of the bikes, and it's not incorrect. I mean, I think it heavily influenced it. I know that some other stuff, like the cycling club that I went to 1 meeting for, that influenced it. I know there's the Harry Potter Club. That also influenced it, even though I've never gone to a meeting. But things like that sounded appealing to me, they really sold this for me. And honestly, I don't think I'd ever go back and change my answer. I've found amazing friends here. I've found great organizations. I've found opportunities here. And I also found what I'm really passionate about here at Davis, which is videography. And it took taking really rigorous and really good computer science classes to figure out that I hated computer science. What should you do? Should you decide because of some weird aesthetic, or should you decide your college campus because of bicycles? I don't know. But here's what I can tell you is that you should definitely research your choices thoroughly. You should look at what opportunities they have for you, what things that might interest you that they have. You're gonna find a lot of overlap between colleges, and that's okay. The other thing that you definitely want to pay attention to is the distance from home, and if you're someone that likes to go home a lot, how are you going to manage that? Or if you're someone that really just wants to get away from the nest, then find the furthest college you can get and go there. That's how I chose UC Davis. If you're deciding right now between UC Davis and another college, let me know in the comments below which one you're leaning towards or why. Or if you've already decided to come to UC Davis, or you're already a student here, let me know in the comments also why you came or why you were deciding to come here. I'd love to read them all and know. And again, check out the Discord and the contest. Links, of course, will be in the description below. That is all I have for you guys today. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.